Hey guys, this is going to be the first part in a series. I am going to start on another DIY project. So this one's going to be something that was inspired by a SIPs container that SoCal's Cannabis Garden, go check out his channel, and he has another one, How Grows It Show channel, where he does the live streams, so definitely go check both those out. And he got a commercial product which was, growing bed in the SIP style. And by the way, that stands for sub-irrigated planter. So one of these self-watering type concepts, a lot of times you see them marketed for balcony gardens of tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. So he added a neat design to his where he put an air stone down in his water chamber. So he's oxygenating the water that is then being wicked up by the growing medium, the soil, and just, through capillary action going up in the soil column. And I think his also has a covering on top of the container as well. So with that in mind, and the other motivation I have is to make something that would allow me to leave, a few plants I have in my microgrow for a week or even two if I go on vacation or something like that without having someone to take care of them. So, there's kind of lots of approaches to that. You could have a dripper system, but I'm going to go ahead and try to make a really small SIPs container, and it'll kind of give me an idea if it'll work. I'm still a bit suspicious of whether it'll work in my particular setup. We have a pretty high relative humidity, and anytime I've had soil that had a bit of stagnant water or was water too much or something like that, that only led to problems in the past. But I guess if the water is, wicking up and being resupplied whenever the upper soil is dried out or the moisture is extracted by the plants, then that could be something kind of different. But I don't know. I still think, you'd probably get dampening off and fusarium. Maybe it would be a little bit more prevalent in a system like that. So the other thing is that, I use mostly composted wood chips as my medium, and that type of compost holds on to organic matter really well. So that's something else to consider. We might even try, a cocoa mix, or adding some pumice stone or perlite, or larger chunk wood chips also work quite well to break up the soil a little bit and give it a bit more aeration. So if you've been following along, you've probably seen me use, or at least mention, these net cups that are typically used for hydroponics. But I use them just as an air pruning container. I used to use grow bags, but I like these actually more because there's more area exposed all around, and because I can move these around with the plant in them without disturbing the soil too much because they're rigid, whereas the bags I found, stuff would move around a lot. So I have these two types, and you'll see that in a second. That's going to be kind of important. One is by Everlastics. They're both the 6-inch type, which is the largest net cup I've been able to find. And I also have these small ones that I've used for some projects and for even starting seeds and clones. And this other one, which has a wider lip, and their taper is actually different. This one tapers more as it goes down, and this one less. And that's what's going to make a difference here in a bit. But this one, where's it from? www.n-g-w.com. Okay, but if you want to try the same thing, what you use will just depend on what's available. You might even be able to convert a pot by putting in some extra holes, or I don't know, maybe even a yogurt container or something. But as you'll see, this kind of worked out really well here, because I'm gonna go ahead and match that up with one of these 6-inch pots, the very standard one. I was at a secondhand store around here and they had like hundreds of these, so you can find them used for quite cheap actually. So this one's the Grow Pro specifically, and obviously has holes, so that's something we're going to be dealing with here in a second. But you know, either find the reservoir container or the medium container and just take it with you, and you can try to match them up to see what fits. Just so happened that the local hydro store had these with a nice wide lip, and when we put them in, they're pretty much a perfect match. Whereas these other ones have less of a taper, and I got these online, and you can see they fit, and it actually covers the whole area just fine. And you could still use them like this. In fact, you get what is that, about 1.5 inches extra reservoir space, right? Because it's sitting up higher than this one would. So I guess you could take advantage of that, and I think that would work just fine as well. So again, this is going to be our water chamber with an air stone down there bubbling away, and hopefully I think kind of spraying water up to here. I made one of those bubble cloners before, and that's what the air stones did, was the bubbles that came up would burst, and that would fling, you know, tiny droplets onto, in that case, the clones, but in this case it will be the bottom of this net cup. And that, I think, will then be wicked up by the growing medium up to the top. Alright guys, so I think that's going to do it for today. That's the basic design and the idea behind this project. So in the next episode in the series, we're going to go ahead and think about how we can seal up these holes and go ahead and get started with the build. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on growing.